What if I told you an exchange semester is not only good for partying and getting that new stamp on your passport, but also the best way to level up as a designer? Whether you're just starting out or almost finished with your degree, I think almost anyone can benefit from it. It is all about gaining new perspectives, new skills, and making unforgettable memories on the way. And I will not only give you the reasons, but also share my experiences. So grab your favorite smoking hot beverage and let's get into it. Doing a design exchange is almost like hitting the jackpot of design education. Obviously, you will learn a lot of new skills because you have different kind of projects there with different requirements. Going to new places on the map gives you the opportunity to see new things and gain new perspectives. And I think that is very similar to a design exchange semester. Because I, for example, picked up so many cultural differences. Design, business, manufacturing processes. Way too much to really get into here. But for example, how in service design the ordering methods here in family restaurants work. That you really just have a list, tick off things, and then hand it in and get your food. You don't really have a waiter in the way I'm used to in most other restaurants here in Europe. It is so much more streamlined, efficient. It does not have that awkward factor interacting with the waiter, especially if you don't know what to order yet. Or for example, how extremely healthy the elderly in Taiwan are. Health is such a big factor for so many people, and the elderly really take it serious. When we sat in a park, drinking and chatting at exactly 4 a.m, a lot of elderly people show up. And there's exercise equipment in the park, and they start to do all their stretches, exercising, and they do that pretty much every single day, which is so different from what I'm used to here in Europe. Because even though our elderly try to take care of themselves, they go to exercise classes and swimming, for example. It is on an entirely different scale, and I wouldn't say it's super common. And just experiencing this and seeing this made me so interested in trying to figure out how we could bring just a bit of that to us, to our elderly, to my grandparents. Being exposed to such different cultures and philosophies really just does something with you as a designer, because we are basically like human sponges trying to absorb everything around us and later on squeeze it out again to put it into our work. We draw from all of our experiences and pour them into our work to make it the best we can. And the more different experiences we have, we can not only create more diverse work, but also much more refreshing, exciting, maybe innovative. And you never know if that experience from your exchange semester will come handy in, let's say, 10 years, which is quite cool. But also, like, learning a new design software can open up so many more possibilities. So can learning a new language. And I think we both know that the best way to really learn a design software is to get a deep dive in there. Work on a project where you really need to use it and figure it out on the way. And how cool would it be that if, for example, you always wanted to learn Spanish, go to a university in Spain or South America, really getting immersed in that environment and learning the language. It happens much more organically, so I was told. Because in my example, it was a little bit different. Because I, for example, really want to learn Mandarin Chinese. Because it is such a interesting and beautiful language, full of wordplay and culture and history. And I started learning it, what I thought was shortly before my exchange semester. But as it turns out, that was not really the case. And my exchange semester got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed because of the pandemic and a lot of travel restrictions to Taiwan. And at some point, the motivation dropped. Other things were more important, and to be honest, I didn't really think all of this would happen anyway anymore. So I stopped learning, and when the time came that they were telling me, okay, now it is possible, and I tried to check on my Chinese, it was completely gone. And in my time there, being surrounded by mostly English speakers, I only really learned the bare minimum to get around. But many of my friends became surprisingly fluent in such a short time. But language-wise, even though a lot of my daily life here in Germany is also happening in English, being able to speak it basically 24/7, also in all projects and all the situations, was amazing. And no doubt, a great exercise to become more fluent. Immersing yourself in a new culture gives you this kind of cultural sensitivity over time. Not only living in that culture of a guest country, but also being surrounded by all those exchange students that are probably from all around the world. And you will pick up things about their culture just from interacting with them. And it might not be obvious immediately, but especially because more and more designs that we do are for a global market, it comes in handy to have that intuitive idea if something would work in a certain culture or maybe not. And you should look into it a little bit more so that things like the failure of Walmart in Germany, of Barbie in China, or of IKEA in Japan won't happen anymore. Or at least that you are not the one responsible for it. And let's not forget about your portfolio, because that is one of the most important things you will get out of going to design school. Because after you're done here, your portfolio is the only thing that matters. And let's be honest, for example, if you go to a school with a lot of people in one class, how much does the work from you really differ from the other people in your class that make the same assignment? Maybe you say quite a lot, and that might be true, but a lot of the time, the influence and guidance of a certain professor and everyone having done the same assignment can lead to portfolios looking very similar. But the projects that you have done in your exchange semester are completely different. And that is quite exciting, especially if the projects have something to do with the culture or country you exchange to. For example, in my exchange studies to Taiwan, I did a couple of projects which were also cooperations with locals or local businesses. And those are just so extremely different and interesting. And in my experience, that is exactly what a lot of employers and agencies look for. Something different, something that sticks out from all the potential applicants. And the project in your exchange semester might just be that. From expanding your portfolio to meeting new friends and immersing yourself in a new culture. The benefits are really endless, but there is one benefit that is potentially the biggest of them all. And of course I will tell you. But if you enjoyed this video so far, give the like button a little boop. Okay, but now let's go to the most important one in my opinion. When I arrived in Taiwan, it was a completely different environment. I was not able to read the street signs. A lot of customs and things that are very normal in that kind of world were not to me. I was a complete outsider, and the simplest of things were big challenges for me. Like for example, getting from one city to another. How do I book a train? How do I call a taxi? But that is also the most exciting part about this. Because coming out of this exchange semester, I feel like I grew a lot as a person. I know that bad things will happen, but there will always be a way to overcome them. And I knew that before, but now, more than ever, I really have proof for that. When picking the destination for my exchange semester, that was one thing I was really looking for. This complete culture shock, which could lead to me really growing as a person. And even though I believe it's way too early to really say how it went, I think that part really went well. After this exchange semester, I'm much closer to the designer and person I want to be in the future. So I really believe that if you are in your studies right now, and you might feel stuck, or you want to grow as a person, want to take that next step to become the designer you want to be, an exchange semester can do just that for you. Don't miss out on that opportunity of a lifetime, and don't miss out on more videos on this channel. And if you're still on the fence about doing an exchange semester, watch for this next.